Welcome everyone to episode 50 of Missing Pieces. If somehow you missed the last 49 episodes, whether it was here on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, my name's Greg and this is where I sit down and I discuss my life, LEGO, and anything else that's on my mind each week. And this week I had a lot on my mind. Not only was this a big week for me, but an even bigger week for Clarkman, and we're going to get into that in this episode. But before we do that, I have some thank yous to give out to our new patrons. It was actually 2 weeks of patron thank yous because last week's episode, if you remember back that far, because it was a long week. That week we did a kind of a patron exclusive thing that I brought over here to Missing Pieces because it was such a good conversation. But speaking of patrons, here's some new thank yous to give out to Josiah, to Dennis, to Andre and Alex, to Litbrick, and Aaron. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Patreon. Huge help, as I say every week. Thank you guys for coming over, and I hope you enjoy the content over there. I invite you, if you're watching this or listening to this, the link is down below to join us. If you want to become a part of the community over there, where we do exclusive streams and videos, I'd love to have you. So on that, let's get into this week, which was a big one. This was the week that my 5-year-old boy, Clarkman, started kindergarten. And it would ordinarily be like a really amazing thing, and it still was. But 2020 is just one of those things that isn't turning out the ideal way. And Clarkman, like many other kids, I assume, is doing remote learning for kindergarten. So where most kids, they have their first day of kindergarten, you get all dressed up, you get your backpack on, you go out and wait for the bus or your parent drives you in and you walk into the school, meet your teacher, all the other kids are at their desks. I think a lot of us have those memories. The kids of 2020, unfortunately, some of them, they don't really have that memory. And if they do, it's somewhat modified because a lot of schools, including the one that Clark is going to, they are doing a hybrid system for most students where there's certain kids that come in on Monday and Wednesday, then there's certain kids that come in on Tuesday and Thursday, and then the remainder of those days when you're not scheduled to be in school, you're doing work from home, and they call that remote learning. So that hybrid system was an option, but there was another option which was just pure remote learning where you just do everything from home. And our predictions, and this could be completely wrong because no one really knows what's going to happen, especially with this year, because you could say something's going to happen in 2020 and it's probably going to be 10 times worse than that. So we're not even going to put anything out there, but we're assuming that schools are going to be in session for at least a little while, maybe a month or two, and then once things start picking up with the Chima situation, then everyone's probably going to go remote anyway. So we decided that we're going to mitigate that risk and also just be like one step ahead and just leave Clarkman home. Since I'm home every day, it would be an opportunity for us to do this together, and that's exactly what it was. So let me explain Clarkman's first day of school. I tried to make it like as normal as possible, I suppose. We got up and got ready. I told him to pick out a nice outfit that he wanted to wear on the first day, and he did that. He wore this nice little blue button-up shirt and stuff. He didn't have a backpack, so we missed out on that. He didn't go in and meet his teacher or friends, but he met them virtually. So the way this system is working is the school provided us with a Chromebook, touchscreen Chromebook. And on that, you open it up and there's like a dashboard of all of the apps and things that you use, including Zoom. And through Zoom, Clark met his new teacher and some of the other kids are in the class, like they're all popping up. Usually everyone's on mute, so there isn't a whole lot of conversations that's happening because you can imagine, like, I don't even know if you want to imagine this, but you can imagine what it's like to take 25-year-olds and put them into a Zoom call, how crazy that can be. And there was some of that happened this week where we were getting on before the teacher and it's just kids going crazy. And it was just funny. And, but yeah, we met the teacher. We started doing a little bit of assignments. Like so far, very easy work, obviously. The first day was literally just like watching 2 YouTube videos of reading stories. I think the one was Mrs. Bindergarten Gets Ready for Kindergarten. So if you're feeling really spicy and you want to watch something amazing after this, you can watch Mrs. Bindergarten Gets Ready for Kindergarten. And then we had another lesson in the afternoon, which was another YouTube thing. And I started to get a little worried. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this whole entire education just going to be YouTube videos? But then things kind of improved because the teacher started reading stories. We started getting out like workbooks and working on stuff, which I'm happy to announce because we've worked with Clarkman on things, and maybe the other kids are in the same exact boat. He seems to be beyond the level of what he's learning right now, like learning numbers, how to write your name, drawing. I think one of the projects this week was drawing a self-portrait, and a lesson of that was to try to draw it more realistic than what you would, like scribbling outside the lines and making your skin tone like the color it is versus like purple or green. And I sort of had a problem with that a little bit. Like, I've talked about my thoughts on school before, and I guess I should probably put that out here now. But don't let this impact you. If you're in school right now, don't let my negative opinion of school impact you or what you're doing, or if you're a teacher, or if your wife's a teacher in some cases, like myself. This isn't a reflection of teachers. This isn't a reflection of the work that they do, or saying that they aren't doing the best they can, because I know they are. But in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, the public school system does something very well. And that thing that it does very well is trains you to follow the rules and to one day be a good employee. Show up when you're supposed to show up, do the work that you're assigned to do in the way that you're told to do it, and then leave when the bell rings and the day's over, and make sure you come back again tomorrow to do the same exact thing, or there'll be penalties if you break any of those rules. I know that works well for the vast majority of people, and we need that. But I also think that school kind of stifles creativity as well. Like, I don't want Clark to lose who he is to school. And if he wants to draw himself with purple skin and green hair that's all over the place, I'd rather him do that than try to do something that's super realistic that isn't what's in his heart. And I know it's like so stupid to even like take it to that level where we're discussing like whether they're stifling creativity by telling him to do this thing. And I know like the teacher means best by it, but I felt like this was the first like little jab into that mentality that I have where school may take things away from him. So I'm trying not to do that. And I think as a parent, you play a big part of that as well. Like, I'm going to try to enforce with Clark, like, dude, the world is your oyster. You can do and be whatever you want to be. You want to be as wild and as crazy as you want to be, that's fine. And I guess I always look at like, I talked about people needing to get regular employment, and this trains you to become an employee. And there needs to be a lot of employees, but sometimes the most successful people in the world do terribly in school because they don't fit into that box. And I'm trying to teach Clark that he doesn't have to fit into that box. If he wants to, that's fine. You want to draw a kid with a red shirt, yellow skin, and crayons, normal hair, shoes, all that, that's fine. But if you want to do something crazy, I'm going to support him no matter what. I guess that's really what it comes down to. I want to support Clark in his endeavors and whatever he's into. I've done that for the first 5 years of his life, and I'm going to do that for the rest of his life as well. Whatever he wants to do, I am on board with it. Even if it's not something that I'm behind or that I'm interested in, I'll find a way, and we're going to do it together, and we're going to get it done. So there were honestly, this was a positive experience this week. It was interesting, like learning the technology with the Chromebooks, which is what Mrs. Brickitect, she's a teacher as well, as I mentioned. She said most of her days this week were spent trying to teach kids how to use Chromebooks. And these are like 11th grade level kids. And I was kind of shocked by that, because to me, it's like with kids that are so into technology today, it just seems to come naturally, especially touchscreen, because most kids have played on a phone before, or in that case, that age have a phone, or you have an iPad, whatever. I thought it'd come quickly, but she said there's about 30% of kids at each class that really just struggled with how to find things on there and how to get around. So right now, the schools, I think, are focused on getting this technology in the kids' hands, getting them comfortable with it. And then when it hits the fan maybe later this year, then everyone can just take their Chromebooks, go home, and do the assignments that they're supposed to do without any kind of interruption like last year. Because last year, Mrs. Brickitect's school was completely unprepared technology-wise, and the last 3 months of school were basically nothing. There was nothing, because the kids didn't have things to work on. Like, some kids maybe had a phone or a computer or internet connection. You can't make assumptions, right? Like, some kids, they live out where you can't get high-speed internet, where you can have a Zoom call. They may not have internet at all. Like, it's kind of tough, but I think they're doing a really good job at it now. I think a lot of schools are probably falling into this, and Clark's stuff's been pretty good. We've had some issues with maybe too many people on the system at once, which is to be expected, and maybe some internet connection issues on their end. But outside of that, it's went really well, and we've just been doing these Zoom lessons. Going into it, I had this anticipation. Like, I was like, what would remote learning or homeschool look like? And I thought, you know what we'll do? We'll get up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. We'll get into all the lessons. We'll do them for like an hour. And then the rest of the day will be our adventures and all the things that we want to do. And that still might be the case. But for right now, the teacher has this setup. And I don't know if this is just to prove that kindergarten actually lasts an entire day, or what it is, but we start at 9:20, where there's like a morning meeting that's like 10 minutes. We're just kind of outlining the day. right? And then there's like a 10-minute break. And then we come in and do a math lesson at like 9:40 for I think like 30 minutes or something like that. And then there's another break. And then we do this fundamentals, or they call it something. It's almost like a reading type thing. And that lasts for a short period of time. Then there's like an hour and a half break between like noon and maybe it's like 11 and 12:30 there's a break. And then at 12:30 we have a reading lesson that lasts until like 1. And then after that it's like independent activity or study. And then there's like gym or phys ed in between those. So essentially the teacher has this schedule. It looks like we have an entire day of kindergarten. But the reality of it is there's maybe like an hour of actual instruction. And the one downside of the way that they have it set up is I wish we would just go in at like 8 or 9 and be like, okay, lesson 1, 10-minute break. Lesson 2, 10-minute break. Lesson 3, 10-minute break. Okay, guys, it's 10 o'clock. You're free for the rest of the day. Go have fun. Do what you want to do. And I would like to run that way, because the way it is now, it kind of holds your entire day hostage, because you're doing this thing now and then a break, and then you have to make sure you're back in time for the next thing, and then a break, and then a long break, and then lunch, and then the next lesson. I'm really kind of contemplating this. She records all these lessons. Like she'll do a live one and then she'll record one for people that can't be there. Because some of these remote kids, they're not there when the lessons happen. Ideally, that's how you'd be, so you can ask questions and such. But you can watch them all later as a recorded thing, just like you'd be sitting in a classroom, and then do the required work that's associated with it, which is all on this Chromebook. So I'm thinking that once we kind of get into the system here and see how it works, I'm thinking we might just start being a day behind, so I could follow that plan. Because Clark and I get up early every day. Like we're up probably 6:30 in the morning, and we have these huge breaks of time where it's not long enough to do a whole lot. Like we might be able to come down and do a Lego video, which we certainly done. We did mail time in between one of our breaks, but I'd like to just get up in the morning, crank these lessons out at Clark's pace, because I feel like, again, and I hope this doesn't come off as like bragging, and it's certainly not intended to be, but he's kind of ahead of where they're teaching to, and it's very slow pace for him. Like he's moving on to the next thing while the teacher's still kind of, for the third time, going over how to fill in like a circle with color and like a number block. So we get up in the morning, we do these lessons, we crank out the work that's required, and on Tuesday morning we did Monday's work, and Wednesday morning we did Tuesday's work, and it just follows that suit. So that may be where we go, because I'm doing something that I think is kind of cool with this. You guys know that I vlog my life and Clark's life and our family's life, and I've been doing that for like 9 years. And for me, this is sort of like a new chapter, and I've been treating it as such. I've been documenting what it's like to be a remote learner, because this is something that I don't think many people have experienced in life, and maybe some people in this year or the coming years may have a similar situation. So I thought, why not document what it's like to be a dad that's trying to teach and raise a 5-year-old kindergartner, and document that, our experience with it, while also intermingling our adventures each day with that as well, since I'm home the rest of the day. So I've been doing that, and I've been filming our days. It started on Tuesday, September 1st, which is last Tuesday. And each day up until Friday, I not only documented the things that Clark was doing, but the things that we would do throughout the day. And I'm trying to craft a storyline around that. So like one day there might be Clark's learning numbers. Like Friday, for example, Clark did the morning assignments. And then in the afternoon or later that morning, we worked on assembling a patio table that we put outside. So that was our experience of the day. And a part of that, and what I'm learning in my life now, having Clark Man at this age, is I'm trying to make everything that we do like a learnable moment. I'm trying to treat this like we are homeschooling Clark, but he has a teacher that's giving him lesson plans. So what we do in school is just a small fraction of what the big picture is. We might do a math lesson, but then my math lesson is what's the step number that we're going to next on this thing that we're assembling, and the importance of following directions and doing things in order and cleaning up after yourself when you're done with stuff. Like there's lessons to be found everywhere. Going to the grocery store, getting healthy foods, like that's a health lesson. Like there's so much. Also, we are doing phys ed in between these meetings. Like if we have a 10 or 15 minute break, we go up to Mrs. Brickitect's exercise room and we'll bust out some little exercises and things, do some push-ups. Clark has these exercises that he does off of the elliptical. Like he'll run on that and do his thing. He'll hang off the weight bench. It's like, I think we could form like this really awesome schedule from this and share that with the world and make each day something special and a new adventure, which is what I've been trying to do forever now. And I think this makes it that much easier. and I've been showing what he's learning. And it's just going to be fun to look back on this because for me, and I think I talked about this in last week's episode, I look at this whole kindergarten thing and this remote learning. I know it's not necessarily a good thing because I do feel bad. I look at these kids that are sitting there and you see them sitting at their desk by themselves or their table and you know their parents there, but it's like these kids are missing out on probably, I think, the greatest thing of being a kindergartner, and that's being in a room full of other crazy kindergartners and having that socialization and the story times and the snack sessions and all of that. And like being there is so important. Like you probably remember your first day of kindergarten. You probably remember some of the kids that you met in kindergarten, maybe your first crush. I remember we had jobs to do, and we would take this wagon down to the cafeteria, and they would load it up with all those little milks and juices. Like everyone would say if they wanted chocolate milk, regular milk, or juice, and then we would wheel that back. And that was one of my favorite moments in kindergarten. And I feel bad for these kids because I look at them, and they're not getting that, you know? They're missing out on a big part of it. But then I look at the other side of it, like my experience with Clark, and I think, well, these kids have a really amazing opportunity because they get one more year with their parent or whoever's with them there. And that's really special because I was thinking this year would be the end. Like I thought Monday or Tuesday, the first day of school, I thought I would drive Clark to school, and then like this would be a whole nother chapter of my life. I saw a renaissance happening on brickitect, and Greg's world kind of going by the wayside a little bit, other than like maybe some afternoon activities or RC running or whatever, whenever I pick Clark up from school. But now it's kind of the opposite, where Greg's world is having even more of a renaissance now. And then brickitect is like, dang, do we have time here to do a Polybag Wednesday? Can we do this? And we're going to do our best with that. I mentioned before, it may not be videos every day because I don't know what Clark's schooling is going to look like. We're only 4 days into it. But I look at this. This may be a setback in some ways, but this is also a huge win for my relationship with Clark and to have this year, because the way I see it, he's going to have years and years of school ahead of him. Lots of time where he can hang out with friends and have those experiences. He's got another 12 years ahead of him, assuming that he doesn't go to college and has another 4 years after that. This year can be our year, and we can celebrate this. And I look at this as a blessing, honestly. Like this year is a blessing for me because Clark means so much to me, and to have him still be a part of my life and we can do the things that we love to do every day, when I thought it was going to come to an end after 2.5 years of enjoying that, I think's great. Like this week, for example, I told you we built that table. I took him to the post office. We went grocery shopping. If the weather was really bad, we'll probably do a lot more outdoor activities as the weather permits. But we also did some gaming as well. Like we got back into Greg and Clark Build Your Ideas in Minecraft, and I'm building a Megazord because Clark's super into Power Rangers right now, and he's doing his thing. So we're having lunch together every day. It's really cool. And again, I look at this maybe as a negative in some ways, but also as a huge win in so many other ways. Quick water break where I turn this over to you guys. Whether you're a student or a parent, what has your first week of school look like? Or maybe you're not in there yet. What are you expecting of school? Are you doing remote? Are you doing the hybrid system? Are you going all in on school? I know all the schools are wearing masks and stuff, which I think would be a nuisance as well. Mrs. Brickitect seems to think that the kids that are actually going to school now and realizing that school isn't what it was before. Like, for example, you are missing a lot of that socialization, even if you're there. Like, the students are all spread out, obviously. She said lunch, which I think a lot of kids look forward to, going to lunch and hanging out with your friends, sitting at a table, whatever. It's now just bag lunches that the school hands out because they don't want all that exposed food with people. So you get a bag lunch and you have to go sit by yourself and eat your lunch. And like I mentioned about how I really wanted that for Clark to have his social situation where he's around other kids, and you are somewhat, and you can talk, I suppose, but it's not what school typically is. And she seems to think that a lot of these kids are going to be like, you know what? This whole wearing a mask for 7 hours a day and having like all this social distancing, it's not worth it. I'm just going to stay home and do my thing from there. And she thinks that a lot of kids are going to kind of not drop out, but drop to the remote learning even before it most likely goes completely remote. That does bring me to another kind of topic on this. I might send Clark to school if we go to, like, say, October November. And we get into that area, and there still hasn't been this situation where they shut the schools down entirely. I might start sending him for those 2 days so he can start to kind of grasp what it's like to be in a school setting. Because right now I'm kind of worried that he's going to go to not preschool. He's going to go to first grade next year, and hopefully all of this is wrapped up by then. Hopefully. And I'm worried that he's going to walk in the first day of first grade and not have any clue what's going on here. Like all these other kids that have been in kindergarten, they're all going to understand, like, okay, I have to sit down, I have to be quiet, I have to sit in attention, and I have to do all these things. Clark's going to be like, what's going on here? And I imagine he'll adapt pretty quickly to that, but I worry about that too. There's all these like concerns and worries and speculation. It sucks not knowing what the future holds. I know none of us really do, but this is so unpredictable, and I initially you're thinking like, hey, maybe this won't affect our summer. Then you're like, okay, our summer is kind of gone. Maybe this will be gone by next year. And then you're thinking like, will he even go to first grade? You don't know. But I'm going to do my best to be the best kindergarten teacher that I can be, the best dad I can be. Try to provide that outside encouragement and teaching that school provides, but do it to the next level. And we're going to work really hard on learning things that isn't necessarily in the curriculum that could make Clark a stronger student, more prepared for next year, even though he may not have the in-school sit-down skills that other people have. So yeah, that's our experience with school. Again, I'm very curious to hear what your experience has been, whether you're in school, maybe you're a parent that send a kid to school. Maybe you're a parent like me that's doing the remote learning. If that's the case, maybe we can bond over this and we can give each other tips on how to work this out. I know a lot of parents don't have the luxury that I have where I'm home all the day, maybe during the day. Maybe you're doing this at night, which I feel really, really bad for. Like if you're one of those parents that works all day and you come home and you make dinner for your family, or you have dinner and then you get baths and all that stuff, and then you finally sit down and you're trying to do the school stuff, like that is a long day. And if you're doing that, more props to you. I couldn't do it. I could do it. It would just be very draining. I think we can do a lot of things that we think we can't do. It's just putting the energy into it. So I think that's probably about enough discussion of kindergarten. You guys are like, wait, was this a Lego podcast? I thought this was on a Lego channel. Sometimes. Do you want to get into some Lego stuff here? Can we talk about this? I have you're not going to like this, though. You Lego people are going to be kind of triggered, I think. But I have a section here titled, Is Brickitect Buying It? The No Edition. And there's been some sets that have been revealed lately, and everyone wants to know my opinion on it. I need to really pick up Is Brickitect Buying It? And I'm working on getting a setup here at this very desk where all I have to do is plug a few cords into my computer, and I can literally set up a video where I can do like a thing like this, or I can do a live stream or whatever, just like that. And I need that in my life where I just come down set up without having to move things and get wires and figure out all that. I have big plans. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but I'm going to work on that. So when things come out, I can do my Is Brickitect Buying It? Because I know you guys really don't come to me for Lego news. You just want to know if I'm interested in my thoughts on things, which I appreciate. That to me means more than being the guy that is the first to reveal something. I'd rather be the guy that you come to say like, what's Greg think of that? What's a homeschooling kindergartner? How does he feel about the buildable baby Yoda? And my answer on that one, as much as I like creepy Lego, I got creepy Yoda behind me, and he's up there. You can probably see him. I think I'm okay with just having that. I don't think I need the baby Yoda, and especially after I think I watched Ryan's video where he showed a mock of the baby Yoda, and someone did it like so much better than Lego, and that kind of ruins it for me. Like, oh, it could have been this. I just think if you're going to go into the store and you got creepy Yoda there, the standard issue one, and you got baby Yoda, you got a decision to make. Which one do you want to buy? Because it's kind of silly to get both. They're so similar, and I think if I had to choose between the two, I would go with the regular Yoda. I just think he's classic. He looks awesome. Those eyes, like you put eyes on any Lego, I'm sold on it because it makes it instantly creepy, even if it's trying to be cute. And I think I can just live without baby Yoda. But if the right clearance came up, or I was feeling a little feisty, maybe I would score it. But for now, it's a pass for me. So Is Brickitect Buying It? Baby Yoda, their child, it's a no. Next Star Wars set. The Mos Eisley Cantina. You guys, I think a lot of people are hyped about this. People are sending me photos on Instagram, showing me the interior, going nuts on this. And for me, I just don't have any interest in this set. I understand it's going to be maybe $350, somewhere in that range. Don't quote me on that. And my thoughts on it, as not a hardcore Star Wars fan, like I never thought to myself, like, you know what I need in my life is a Mos Eisley Cantina. I need the UCS version of that, or Master Builder version of that. Just like the same thing with the A-Wing. It's not something that ever crossed my mind that I need. You know what I love in Star Wars? Buildable figures, like the Darth Maul bust, which I have to build. Like the BB-8s, the R2-D2s. I love that kind of stuff. I don't really need like sets like this, and it kind of takes me back to when I built Cloud City. I got that on a pretty good deal. And I admit that set was really cool. But when I was done with it and we played with it, and as a play set, it's fantastic too. But when we were done with it, we were just kind of at the point where it was like, now what do I do with this? It's such a massive piece. It's awkward. And I ended up just sliding it back into the box fully built. And that's where it sat the whole time. So for me, I don't think I would get $350 of enjoyment out of this. I wouldn't even get $250 enjoyment out of this. In fact, like if I were to walk in the Lego store with $300, I think personally for me, and I can't speak for you, but I think you could do so much better with that money than that particular set. Like for me right now, I think I would probably get the bookshop or the bookstore, the Birch Books. That's been on my list for a bit. Maybe the Corner Garage, like I'm kind of missing these modulars that have come out. So I'd probably do that, or God knows what I'd find, but I think I could do a lot better with that money. I'd probably get the Crater Pirate ship at $100. Like you talk about $300 or $350 of Lego, you're talking multiple sets. You're talking at least 2 sets, 3 sets, maybe 4. Some people would even say 50 sets. They'd be wrong, but well, could you? $300, 50 sets, that'd be $6 a piece. You could pull off a lot of poly bags, I think, for that. But that's a solid no for me. I'm gonna pass on the Mos Eisley Cantina. One set that I'm passing on now, but I may not pass on later, Diagon Alley. That set to me is gorgeous. It's expensive, $400 I believe is what it is, but it looks beautiful. And as a new self-proclaimed Harry Potter detector, I think that I could probably entertain getting that. I just need some serious shelf space for it. I saw the set and how wide it is, and then I saw a photo of a dude with it in front of him. I'm like, that's a shelf clearer right there. That's a shelf killer, and I could probably pull it off. I think I could do it. I'd probably tear some other things apart to make way for it. But for right now, again, I think with $400, I'd probably go get some of the other Crater sets that I missed out on, like the Bookshop and the Crater Garage and whatever else that I could track down. I still have to build the Parisian restaurant. Like I've got things to build. I got Assembly Square to build. I don't need to get these sets right now, but Diagon he never sleeps. And if something pops up on Diagon Alley, maybe I'd snag that. Next set, this one's going to come as a shocker to everyone that watches my channel and knows me well. The new Creator Winter set, or Christmas set as it's known in some circles, is I guess like an elf workshop this year. And usually I'm all over these holiday sets. Like I love seasonal Lego. Seasonal Lego is my favorite thing to collect. But in this case, there's nothing new here for me to get because I already have an elf workshop that I think came out in 2014. And this is kind of similar to that. And I can't see myself dropping $100 on this set because it's just like, I have all these Christmas sets from the past. And the big idea that I had was like each year we would rebuild the ones that we had before and kind of like make it a tradition. So when Clark gets older, he's like, oh my gosh, that Santa's Workshop set. I remember building that, all those years together. We'd sit down, put some Christmas music on and be building that. And I love that. This set, I don't think I need in my life. And you're probably wondering like, Greg, aren't you a Lego YouTuber? Don't you need to buy Lego sets? And the answer is yes, to some part of that. I know a lot of Lego YouTubers literally buy everything and anything just because they know it's going to result in views. They got to get the newest thing, be there the day it comes out, run home, make a live stream on it, make a video on it, do a review on it. That's not me. I'm not a Lego reviewer. I'm just sharing my experience in Lego. And that may mean that I go an entire year without buying any Lego sets. In fact, I can never see that happening, but I do want to get more into the creative side of Lego. And this week, there's actually going to be a video that you guys see that's going to be very much that. This is a collaboration with a fan that I put out there that I wanted to build something. They made the Bricklink instructions for it and the pieces, and I customized a little bit, but it's not on its way. It's here, so I have the pieces for that, and I think you guys are going to love that. So there's actually going to be something that I build that's not not a Lego design this week, and I think that's going to be really great. But again, my idea here is just to share my experience, my and Clark's experience, and to show what that's like from collecting by myself to collecting with a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, 5-year-old. How does that change over time? And I can tell you one way that it's changed. And I was going to maybe talk more about this next week, but Clark is now becoming quite the builder. In fact, he wants to build everything. So I'm kind of at the point now where I'm considering getting 2 sets. When we buy sets, I'm thinking about getting 2 of them because there's this Technic set, which you'll see a video on. It might be Monday or Tuesday. It's recorded. I just have to put it out there. And it was such a good deal on this tiny little Technic like race car or whatever, dune buggy, that I was like, I'm just going to get 2 of them. So Clark built one and I built one. We built it at the same time while we were watching a vlog on YouTube. And it was just a fun experience. And it was cool. Like we were just kind of doing the same thing. Diagon Alley supposedly be perfect for that because there's multiple books in there or manuals. So we could work on that together as a family. So I don't know. I'm just navigating my way. I'm trying to find a way. I don't have anything planned out or I don't have things figured out yet, but together we're doing that, right? Like, what? I don't know. I don't know where anything's going. All I know is that I'm going to do my best to document where I'm at now and my experience and our feelings and share that in an authentic way. And whatever that turns into, it turns into. It may mean that I'm not the most cutting edge of LEGO YouTubers, dropping all the greatest news and the newest reviews and all that stuff, or having the ability to do live streams anytime, but I'm still sharing the thing that I've always pledged to share, and that was my interest in reviving my childhood love for LEGO, and now, these days, sharing that with my son. And I'll never let you down in that regard. So I just wanted to share those sets and my thoughts on those. There is, and that was the no edition of brickitect buying it, but there is something that's coming out that initially I was like a very strong no on, but then after talking about it yesterday in the other podcast I do, which is Bricks and Brits, I might be getting it, and that's the Adidas LEGO shoe. I don't know if you guys have seen these things, but if you do a search for it, you can see just how hideous these things are. They do look like something that I would have worn when I went to kindergarten back in 1990, because they're just like, they're super colorful. They've got like a 2x3 brick on the laces at the bottom, and they got the red LEGO logo on the tongue. They're insane looking, and I could see them being very collectible, and that's why I'm kind of tempted into getting these, because I would never wear them, but it'd be kind of cool to have them on display as like a part of LEGO history or just to have as a collector's piece. So I'm kind of tempted on that. I don't know the price of them. That could kind of sway me one way or another because I really don't like the idea of spending, I don't know, $100 to have something that's just going to be sitting somewhere and not doing anything. But it's kind of cool, right? So I may be in on that. I'm more likely to buy that than I am the LEGO sets that I discussed earlier, other than maybe Diagon Alley. That one's kind of in my wheelhouse and on my radar. So we'll see how that goes. But on that, I think that's pretty much it for this week. Sorry there wasn't much LEGO, but this was a week of new experiences in kindergarten, and there just wasn't a whole lot of time for that. So maybe next week, maybe we'll get into more LEGO stuff. In this case, I want to turn this over to viewer feedback or listener feedback. And I want to talk to you guys about something. I'm a little upset with you. I'm not really upset, but I thought that'd be a good way to start this off to get your attention, because you're probably doing something right now. You're probably riding your bike or climbing a mountain or mowing your yard or working on your homework or playing Fortnite, which I did a lot of this week. I'm getting back into it. It's a drug. I want to talk about listener feedback. I've been seeing a lot of wins of the week, which I love because I love sending the episodes out with your guys' wins of the week. And if you have one, share it. But what I'd rather you do, I've been throwing things out there that I thought were kind of cool questions and great conversation topics. And I noticed not a lot of you guys are biting on it. I'm going to give you the 2 examples of the last 2 weeks. The one from episode 48 was, what is one thing that you could add to your life to make it easier? And I thought there'd be a whole bunch of people that would be like throwing random things out there, miscellaneous things, like what could I add to my life to make it easier? Let's see, I have waffles for breakfast. You know what would really make my life easier? A toaster. Random things. I'll share my favorite one with you guys here. This is from Tap Tap Zip, who said, mine would be having a clone of myself that goes to school and helps me with my LEGO collection. A bit weird, I know, but it'll accelerate the process of cleaning my room. It'll give me free time. So there you go. There's something you could, I was thinking maybe like more realistic things, like something you could actually buy or do or pay for or add to your life, but a clone would certainly work. The other question I asked you guys that didn't get a lot of responses was, what is your life dream or goal? And my favorite one that came from that was from episode 49. My favorite one from that was Cool Lego Picks, who said, I'm 16 and my 2 main goals right now, life-wise, is to graduate high school and work at my LEGO store in hopes of making it up the ranks and eventually reaching my dream job of becoming a LEGO set designer. For what theme I don't know, maybe Ninjago, since it's always been there for me during my highs and lows in life. And I thought, that's great. You're 16 years old and you already have a goal, and a very attainable one if you take the right steps. But most of you guys, you didn't say what would make your life easier. You didn't tell me what your life dream or goal is. And I started to think maybe it's because most people don't want to put themselves out there in the way that I do and be vulnerable. You guys are very good at giving me feedback on things that I'm thinking about or talking about. Like, for example, I think episode 48, I talked about the prospect of having a housekeeper and whether that would make sense financially so Clark and I could do other things that produce revenue. And you guys had a lot to say about that, but no one really had anything to say about what could you add to your life to make it easier? What is your dream or goal? And I wish you guys would, because I'd love this to be more of an interactive thing. And I don't want you just to talk about your thoughts on the things that I talk about. I want to get inside your brain. I want to get in there and I want to find out what's going on in there. So once again, this week, I'm going to throw those 2 questions out to you. You got multiple choice this time. You don't have to answer both. You can answer both or just one. What is one thing you could add to your life to make it easier? Something ideally that exists. Don't say, I wish aliens could come abduct me so I didn't have to do my homework. What's one thing that you could add to your life to make it easier? Something you could buy, a service that you could do. Maybe it's something as simple as cleaning up your room to make your life easier. Maybe I saw one that I thought was really good. It was about a sleep schedule, getting on a proper sleep schedule. And I may actually be sharing that one. I have a couple other things here to share. But also, this one I think is even better. What is your life goal? Where do you want to go right now? You could be very young or very old. You have to have an idea of the direction you want to go in. If you don't know where you're going, it's very hard to get there, right? And I always tell you guys, if you do have a goal, try to take little steps to get there. But if you don't have a goal, how are you going to take steps? If you don't know that it's going that way, what if you start walking this way? You got to be going in the same direction. So I'm going to throw that out to you guys. I know it's a little scary that I might read your comment here on the show or whatever, but just throw it out there. I think it's good conversation, and I would love to hear from you guys. So let's get more into that. Maybe I'll try to have a question each week that we kind of open up to listener feedback. But on that, I guess we'll go into the wins of the week, which we have a few of them here, and this brightened my soul. It made up for your guys' lack of follow-ups on my questions I threw out to you. Very, very deep questions though. We went a little deep there, but we'll get into the wins of the week here next. This first one here is from Brick Tony, who has his win of the week. Says, I was able to spend some very valuable and fun time with my family during the week, as they're usually pretty busy doing other things. So spending the entire night with them was an amazing thing. I was also tuned into some of your live streams on Twitch and on YouTube, and even if I was supposed to do schoolwork, I also wanted to express my opinion on Lego Super Mario. At first, like many people, I disliked it, but as time went by and I learned more information about it and I saw more videos about it, I started liking it more, since I like creativity, imagination, interactivity, and playability aspect of the sets. So because of my interest in Lego Mario increasing, I was starting to consider picking up the starter course, Bowser's Castle, and a few polybags and the mushroom polybag from Target. Additionally, on the topic, one thing I would like to add into my life to make it easier, this is it. I would choose to get a good sleep schedule. At this rate, I have a catastrophic sleep schedule. I need a sleep schedule planned out for me so my life would be way easier. But anyways, I wanted to say that for viewer feedback, and sorry if this is long, but for me, I enjoy sharing feedback. Keep it up, Greg. Well, I appreciate you sharing your viewer feedback. You nailed like 3 things in there. You got your win of the week, you got the thing that would make your life easier, and also something that you're interested in or passionate about based on what you saw. And I think that's really awesome. And I wish you the best of luck, Brick Tony, with your goal of getting a proper sleep schedule. That's a goal and also something that would make your life easier. Maybe those 2 things can be mixed together. Here's my suggestion for you. Set a time, set an alarm, do what you need to do. Set a time that you want to go to bed. And if it's way out of course right now, try to just go to bed an hour earlier than what you typically have been, but slowly start working your way. And once you get into bed, just turn everything off. No phones, no TV, no electronics, no nothing. Just lay there for a little bit. Be bored, be stuck with your mind, which I know is a scary thing, but then you'll find that you'll probably just zonk right out. And the next day you're going to get up early because you've been sleeping for so long, and then you'll be on a schedule. You just have to stay dedicated, and you got to have, not motivation, you got to have discipline. You got to have the discipline to do it. But I believe in you, Tony. I believe in you. Next one is from Jim RPG. He says, hey, ya, Greg. I like that. Hey, ya. I've been watching your channel for a while now. I don't know if I've commented before. Well, it's a good time to start, and I want you to comment every time from here on. You're one of my favorite Lego in YouTube channels. What made me comment was I totally hear you about managing other people. This is a comment in reference to last week's episode where I talked about how I really like being an independent person and I don't really like managing people, and I had a bad experience with incompetence and I just want to be a lone wolf out there. But he says, what made me comment is I totally hear you about managing other people. Before I did, I was sure I'd be a good manager because I thought I was kind and people would recognize that. But being on the owner's side of managing people, it's more like babysitting adults, which I agree with. And I agree that being a middleman is just awful. Taking orders from above and then the people who work for you fail. Haha. I also like to share my win of the week. I started a gaming channel about 4 months ago and I was getting 10 to 30 views on average per video. But this week, I made a video about a new video cards and it blew up and it got 5,000 views and it's so exciting. I like to start a Lego channel just to show off my little collection, but one channel is enough at the moment. I have no idea how you do so many channels. Great stuff, Greg. Well, thank you. I don't know how to do so many channels either. It seems like I'm trying to balance 3 plates on 2 hands sometimes, or 4 plates in some situations. And sometimes things kind of fall by the wayside and sometimes things come back. It's just different chapters. But man, 5,000 views on a video, I'll tell you about getting motivated, dude. You see that and you're just like, I need more of that. It's addicting, right? So keep up the gaming channel. Throw some Lego stuff out there. Here's what you could do as a transition. Play a Lego video game and then be like, hey, I know you guys love to watch me play Lego Worlds or whatever, Lego Star Wars. Here's my Lego collection. And you could kind of do the whole thing because ideally what you want on a channel, at least in my opinion, you want people to want to watch for you, not because of what you're sharing. And I always tell people that. So if you're playing video games and you're sharing like your personality through the commentary or whatever, that should be the reason people are watching, not because you're playing the newest game or you have the newest Lego set because you're the first guy to run to the Lego store to get it. You want them to be there because of who's doing it, and that's you. And so if you do something that's a little bit different from that, but still you, where you share your Lego stuff, your audience and your fan base is gonna follow you into that as well. Like there's been so many things that I've done, not only in this channel, but Greg's World, that have been way different than anything I've done before, but because it's us, that's why people continue to watch. So if you want to do your gaming thing and Lego thing, you can do it on the same channel. You could have a series, have schedules. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff. But I wish you the best of luck with that there, Jim RPG. Enjoy the journey, man. Good job on the 5,000 views and just keep them rolling, dude. Next win of the week, though, we have from Brick Patch. Love that name. He says, win of the week. I was able to sell some old Lego books I used to read to get some money for the Harry Potter CMFs. Win! Way to go, dude. Next one is from Oshbricks. YT says, my win of the week was getting ready to go back to school after 6 months. That's a win, too. Getting your sleep schedule on, getting your clothes laid out, getting all that stuff together. Nice. Baby Yoda has the next one. Says, my win of the week was preparing a good quality speech just in time so I could read it to my peers. Speech. Scary things. Congratulations on doing that. Hopefully that went well. Madarka has the next one. My win of the week was I got my study desk all set up and completed a video for my channel after 3 weeks of not uploading. That's success right there. Just stay on that schedule. All you have to do is show up. Say, I'm going to do this every Tuesday. Tell your people you're going to have a video every Tuesday and you'll have a video every Tuesday. Am I supposed to be giving advice here? I don't think I'm supposed to be giving advice on wins of the week. Congratulations. I'm just I turned wins of the week into advice detect. I'm not going to comment on your wins. I'm just going to share them, okay? I'm going to comment on them. What can I say? Some Nerd 26 says, my win of the week was building my UCS Millennium Falcon over 5 days. Took about 30 hours and putting it on a coffee table. Dude. Or in a coffee table. That's wild. Next one, last one here. Who's new Patreon detector. I actually became the 4th subscriber to this person. This is the Futuristic Funko. This is, my win of the week is something that means a lot to me. And to be honest, something that I never thought would happen. I officially put up my first YouTube video. Now, as someone who has struggled with speaking in public, I tried to put a video out for so long, but struggled with having the confidence to do so, as I was terrified of what people would think or how they would react. However, seeing examples of how warm and welcoming the LEGO community has been has really helped me get past that fear and finally do something that I love and want to do for so long. Yes! That is the best win of the week that I could possibly imagine. You were afraid of doing something. You had that fear. You decided that you were going to put yourself out there. You did it. And now brickitect is subscribed to you. 4 subscribers. I was number 4. And I like what you're doing. I am kind of developing this interest in Funko Pops, and you're probably going to make me end up getting those and start buying them. Box Live is going to come back. It's going to be dangerous. But dude, freaking proud of you, man. I thought your video was just fine. You edited it just fine. You showed yourself going to Walmart and buying Funko Pops and Pop-Tarts and stuff. I just thought it was cool. I just like seeing people's experiences, and I think you're doing that really well. It was a vlog, and you would have no idea that you're not confident. But here's the really valuable thing about making videos is that if you're not, you can be uncomfortable making videos, but all you have to do is just do your best on camera. Try to edit out the things that you don't like, or say you have a nervous tick where you say a lot, or there's just something that you do that you don't like. You can edit it. You have the ability to edit your video to make it whatever you want to be. But just taking that step, I think, is a win, and it's a beyond a win. It's a victory, and I just think I think you're gonna do really well. Just keep going. If you go back and watch my first videos, they're terrible. My first 100 videos on Brickitect, the worst things that you could possibly watch. And that was after 2 years of doing YouTube. So if someone like me that is naturally inclined to be terrible at speaking in public or on video whatsoever, and is very nervous at this type of thing, if somebody like me can do this and get as comfortable as I am now, anyone can do this and have even more success than I have. I truly believe that. So if you are like the futuristic Funko and you're out there and you're like, dude, I've been watching YouTube videos forever, and I would love to do one about the thing that I love, whether it's Funko Pops or whatever that little thing in your life is that like really inspires you or you're passionate about. This is your time. Just put it out there. If you're worried about what people are going to think, don't worry, because there's no one going to be watching it. No one's going to watch your first videos. Just put it out there. Just get started. Don't let perfection stop you from making that first step. And I guess on that, guys, oh man, that left me just like tingling on the inside. I feel I want to go make videos now after seeing this. I wish you guys the best of luck this week. Some of you that haven't started school yet, I wish you luck going into it. I know it's going to be a little weird this year. You're going to get through it. If you have to do the remote thing, you can do that as well. We'll encourage you through that. You can see what our experience is. You can see if that's like that. We're going to be producing content during the day, whether it be on the gaming channel or maybe even Brickitect Live, where we have some free time to give you guys a little bit of entertainment throughout the week as well. Again, I'm going to do my best to produce content here in Brickitect, but right now, my number one goal is to make that content for Greg's World and share this year's experience and document that. But we're going to balance all these different plates, like I said earlier, and do our best at it. So on that, guys, I wish you the best of luck with everything you do. Accomplish those goals. Please give me some viewer feedback for next week. If you want to support this podcast, other than that, you can support us on Patreon. If you want to join there and become a part of the community, $5 per month gets you access to our Friday night patron-only live streams and launching Lego. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave a like on this video. You can watch my other videos. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do, or you can just have a wonderful week, and I'll consider that support enough. So on that, my friends, thank you for watching, and remember, we'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.